Hey, this is Mike from the One Stop Co-op Shop, talking about a game currently on Kickstarter, Testament from Japanime Games. Testament is a solo or co-op game for 1 to 4 players where a team of basically Japanese anime tropes go into this dungeon and try to fight through increasingly difficult levels, reaching bosses with unique AI cards, and fighting with these different action cards that level up. Some of the systems are really similar to the Heroes of Terranoth action system, which I enjoyed a lot, although I will say I think it's a little bit better here. But if you want to see the game in action, I did a full playthrough of the tutorial mission, so go check that out on the other video. But with that being said, let's talk about what I liked and what could be concerning. So my first pro, probably the biggest one with the game, is how you build your characters and how diverse it can be. Each of the 4 characters gets between 4 or 5 skill cards, but you have 6 different classes of skill cards to choose from, and you can pick whoever you want to go with whatever skills. Yes, they've got pre-constructed sets that have the wizard casting wizard spells and the tank having tank abilities, but you could switch that up and make the tank a healer if you want to, why not? Now that already gives you a ton of options, but as your characters level up, they get to go through this branching skill tree where the skills can upgrade along different paths and reach these really cool and really diverse abilities, even within the same class. But the coolness doesn't stop there and the tough decisions, because every single skill you give to your character will have a little modifier in the corner, and when you add these all up, it'll determine what rank your character is, which tells you how many hit points they get. So if you give them all of like the coolest attack abilities, then they're going to have a tiny number of hit points, and you'll have to work really hard to defend them. It's a super engaging, super fun system. It makes you want to try out new builds and new things and to see what crazy things you can get into. The next positive is the action system, and again, it's a lot like Heroes of Terranoth, where you have several cards and you can exhaust them to use their ability, and then you have to wait a while to get them back. But the puzzle of figuring out which abilities to use and when, whether you're playing solo or co-op, is really great. And it's added on to the fact that you roll these little force dice at the beginning of each turn, and you have these tokens you have to divide up among the team that'll boost your abilities, and you can debuff the enemies or buff yourselves, you can get shields. It's just a really cool, fun puzzle pretty much every turn, and you really have to think a few turns ahead, because again, if you blast with your best attack right now, you won't have it when some big boss shows up later. Also awesome is the aggro system. So most of the actions you do will give you maybe 1 aggro, and then a lot of actions can move it around between the heroes. And enemies will generally all attack the person with the most aggro, so you can make sure that your tank has the most, but if you mess up, oh, your little squishy wizard might get attacked. There's a really engaging system, really adds to the puzzle. Some of the enemies can mess with your aggro and take it away. It leads to some really clever plays, some horrible realizations that you're going to get attacked, just a lot of fun in general. A few other cool things just to rattle them off. I really like the soul actions. Basically, you build up this little soul meter as you defeat enemies, then you can do a super action when it fills up. And I like the enemy diversity. Each of the 6 bosses has 4 unique boss cards that do special things. You have a ton of different mobs, little minions that can attack you that can be very diverse. You could have like little guys who hide in the back and do special attacks, or boost each other, or take away your things, or heal each other. It's just a really nice range of simple, quick to resolve, but also diverse effects. Now, all those positives being said, there are some things here that you might want to be concerned about depending on your playgroup. The first one is the fact that you do have to always control all 4 hero characters. Now for solo, it's not much of a bear at all. It's pretty easy to do, and it's a lot of fun to have the puzzle. For 2-player, it's great. 3-player is okay, but you have the weird extra characters, so you have to either like pass them around or make decisions on what they do together. 4-player is the only place where you might have a little bit of trouble, because characters can be defeated. Now, you can bring them back, but if you like make a really bad call in terms of aggro, and one character gets totally ganged up by a huge mob of characters, they might get knocked out early, and it might take you a while to get them back in. So 4-player is definitely sort of the most fragile experience, where you might have a player sitting around for a while. Just a caution to think about if 4 is the main way you're going to go with the game. The other main potential concern is value and variety. So you've got 6 stages here, 6 bosses, but each of the 6 bosses uses the same 4 basic cards and then 4 of their unique cards, and then there's only 2 mob decks. Now there's a lot of diversity in those 2 mob decks, but you're going to be going through those same decks over and over. So basically this means you'll be seeing a lot of the same boss action cards and a lot of the same mob cards again and again as you play through. So what you really have to ask yourself here is how much priority do you put on increasingly new content on the oppositional side, and how much priority do you put on the new experimentation on your side? If you want something like Gloomhaven, where you get 90 scenarios with new maps, new enemies, new objectives, you're not going to get that here. Once you've seen the 6 stages, as tough as they can be, and as unlikely it is that you'll get through all of them in one sitting, you've kind of seen what the game has to offer. But if you're the kind of gamer who likes to experiment with new characters, new builds, can play Pandemic 10 times and still enjoy themselves because they change up what tactics they're using, then this game might seem like a really good deal. And overall, for me, that's where I land. I think the experimentation of trying out new characters, the huge diversity of abilities, the different enemies, the great puzzle, the great cooperation, I think all of that is a lot of fun. And the great thing is, while you can chain this together into a big 6-mission campaign and play for hours, if you just want to jump into one of the stages, and you can jump into any of them, just build your character accordingly, then you can get through a whole game of this with 4 players in 30, 40, maybe 50 minutes, so it's a nice, quick, succinct experience. So Testament is definitely a recommend from me, but check out my gameplay video, go check out the Kickstarter page, make the decision for yourself. Good gaming everyone, and I'll see you at the next stop.